If you've ever felt nervous before a conversation or a party or speaking up at work, you might think the goal is to control every thought that pops into your head, like only have calm, confident thoughts. But the truth is, you can't control the thoughts that appear. But what you can control is how much you feed them. And that small understanding changes everything when it comes to anxiety and social anxiety recovery. So the Buddha had this idea called the two arrows. The first arrow is automatic. That's the spike of nerves you might feel before a conversation or going to a party. It's the flush in your face when all the attention is on you. Maybe it's your heart racing when you say something wrong, right? This is your amygdala firing off and you can't really control it. The second arrow is the self-talk afterwards. It's the overthinking, the rumination. Your thoughts are maybe saying, I sounded stupid. They probably noticed that I was nervous. Why can't I just be normal? And that second arrow is where a lot of the uncomfortable negative thoughts pop up. And luckily, it's optional. And a useful way to start recognising this is after a social situation or facing a fear, ask yourself, am I shooting a second arrow? To make this make more sense, there's a key distinction, and that's the difference between a thought and thinking. So a thought is a noun. It's something you have. It arrives like a random visitor knocking at your door. Thinking, however, is a verb. It's something you do. It's the process of engaging and analysing and ruminating on thoughts. And it's the thinking, not the original thought, that creates a lot of the anxiety spirals. So our brains and bodies can treat imagined threats like real threats. As an example, I want you to imagine biting into a super juicy lemon. Really picture it. Picture picking it up with your hand, the juice pouring out of it, and sticking it into your mouth and biting down on it. What happened? Your mouth maybe watered, you might have scrunched up your face. Even me just saying that right there made my face scrunch up a little bit. Right? No lemon exists, but the thoughts you had made your body react as if it was real. And social anxiety works the same way. The thought of I'll embarrass myself or they'll judge me, those things aren't happening right now, but your body reacts as if they are. The goal is to move from thought to action without the overthinking, without the second arrow. For example, you might want to ask for a pay rise at work. You have the thought, you do a little preparation, and then you do it. Maybe you're invited to a party, you notice the nerves, you pick out what clothes you're going to wear, and then you go to the party. We're not given our mind space to overthink these situations. And then the action teaches your brain that this anxiety isn't dangerous, that we can feel these nerves and do the thing anyway. Again, you can't always control your emotions, but you can control how you respond to them. Now let's talk about post-rumination, something that people with social anxiety will know very well. So after some interactions, your brain can start replaying them over and over again. You analyse your tone, how you came across, if you sounded weird, and you might convince yourself that you embarrassed yourself even though there's not much evidence. This is the second arrow in action. The first arrow is the nerves, the awkwardness, your heart racing. That's all normal and should be expected sometimes. But the suffering afterwards, all the overthinking, that's your choice. And a simple way to stop it is to just tell yourself, I'm ruminating about that interaction and that's okay. And then continue on with your day. You notice the thought, you observe it without piling on extra judgment. And over time, you're teaching your brain that this overthinking isn't helpful and it's not needed. Remember, your thoughts will come and go. You can't really control what thoughts pop up, but you absolutely do have control over how you respond to them. You can notice the rumination, realise that it's not helping, and take action. I think the real problem is that our thinking gives our thoughts far more power than it deserves. Our minds throw up random, strange, uncomfortable thoughts all the time. That's just part of being human. And the anxiety usually gets worse when we begin treating those thoughts as important or dangerous or as if they need to get fixed or removed. And over time, if we can bring up our self-awareness and begin to notice our thinking, to notice that second arrow coming, that gap between the first arrow and the second arrow is where we can start building some genuine confidence. So next time anxiety shows up, don't try to fight the first arrow. Just try not to add the second one. Let the thoughts be there, let the feelings be there, and keep moving towards your goals.